Hey everybody, Brian Pezim Traders here. I am back from vacation over in Vietnam and Cambodia. It was an amazing trip and yeah, so 2 weeks off and now back at it. This is the weekend video, of course. It's Sunday, March 26th. We're getting close to the end of the first quarter here. And it's been a pretty wild couple of weeks while I've been away with all the bank failures, etc. But let's get down to it. Let's take a look at what happened last week and try to figure out where we might be going from here. Okay, so let's start out by taking a look at what happened last week. I didn't actually start trading till Wednesday, and but there was still lots of volatility in the market here. We had, with all the financial sector stuff going on, both in North America and in Europe as well, with Credit Suisse. But regardless, the stocks did manage to end higher, even despite the Fed hiking, pretty much as expected, 0.25%, and staying the course to fight inflation despite the fact, or despite all the financial upheaval that's been going on in that market. Interestingly, I found that the Treasury yields responded really significantly. They dropped pretty hard, both the 2-year and the 10-year. Have been dropping. That's kind of telling you rates are going lower, bond prices going higher. This indicating a chance of a coming recession by the bond traders. So if you look at how we finished up on the week here, the Dow was up 1.2. The Qs, of course, the biggest beneficiary of this week. With the financial upheaval, people were thinking technology was the safe haven trade, so money flowing into the Qs. The least amount of money flowed into IWM, which has a fair amount of the regional banks in that ETF, or in that index. So that's probably why it was up the least on the week, but still managed to gain regardless. Communication services, technology sector, biggest gainers for the week. I already mentioned why technology was up, but communication services up because I think primarily Facebook and Snap obviously going to be the beneficiaries of any kind of ban that ends up happening on TikTok, which sounds like it might go forward. Utilities and real estate, they were the two losing sectors on the week. Not a huge amount, but money flowed out of utilities particularly. That's pretty much a safe haven trade, but money flowing out of those this week. The treasuries, again, significantly down here. Both the 10 and the 2-year treasury yields were down. Bond prices, treasury prices up as yields drop. So US dollar down just a fraction on the week, and Bitcoin had a big run over the last couple of weeks. Again, sort of money flowing into both gold and Bitcoin as a perceived safety trade, or a flight to safety, some kind of safety, with all the upheaval going on in the financial markets. So that kind of wraps up the week. Okay, and before we get going here, looking at some charts, always a quick ad for my book on Amazon, Profiting as an Active Trader. Got rules, strategies, and the routines of an active stock and option trader. So there it is. You can check that out. And so let's move on and take a look at some charts here. As always, starting out with the treasuries, you can see here what a drop we had over the last couple of weeks. We were bouncing up, coming up close to, we actually got over 5% on the 2-year, but now we're down under 4. This is big moves for the treasuries. This is a big percentage move, but you can see here people are starting to price in maybe possibility of recession. Again, same comments on the 10-year, up over 4%, got pretty close up to that last October high, and now we're really dropping here, and it seems like rates have maybe peaked, and we've done actually some trades on this where we've gone along the TLT, which is bond prices, which go up when the yields go down. So that's a trade that we've been doing in the room. Artie's had that in mind for a while, and I'm in there with him as well as some of our other traders. So let's take a look at the transports. You can see here we're kind of finding some bottoming action here. It's pretty close to an area where we would expect some support, and maybe this is an area where we're going to turn and go higher next week. Certainly there's some positivity, at least as long as we don't get any more bad news with bank failures, etc. That's kind of behind us. I think we can probably put in a bit of a rally here. Transports again on the weekly, it's looking like we're trying to find a bottom here. The Dow, sort of same comment, had a nice move up on Friday. RSI is starting to hook back up. Volume not great. Stochastics actually turning over here. So again, we are still down under 50. That's always a concern. Rallies tend to fade. The Dow on the week, again, kind of not a bad week, but well off the highs of the week. The Qs, definitely the performer. It's right back up to this this high that we hit in February. Obviously stalling out a little bit here at this high, not surprising. Volume pretty light on Friday, but RSIs and stochastics still strong. Momentum still looks strong, so we probably can push up to this next level here, which would probably be around 320, right back in this area, from this area, maybe 330, if things don't start to come in unhinged again. The SPY, again, we're making just a series of higher lows. Every little pullback is being bought apparently, so we are kind of topping out into an area here where there was prior resistance. And if we can push through that next week, as long as there's no, like I said, unpleasant surprises. The IWM, again, we a lower high on this one, but again, if we can start to get back past this, some of this stuff, this could rally as well. Again, indecision candle on the week. RSI is starting to hook up there. Pretty decent volume on this week too here. And stochastics really getting into an oversold area. Maybe we're ready for a bounce. Again, volatility all over the map this last week, but you can see here, you know, we did finish down on Friday, and we have been pretty spiky, really. Just a reflection of how volatile the markets have been over the course of each day. And the dollar, you can see on a daily we popped back up again, and on the week just pretty much flat, just down a hair, but we might be putting in a higher low right here. Bitcoin, again, we're just we had this big pop up on the bank concerns, and then we've just been chopping along here, just under 29,000. 30,000 is going to be a big big area to try to get through. This is an area where we tried to find support and then just broke down. So obviously we are getting into an area where there's been some resistance there. So let's take a quick look at some of the stuff I'm watching this week. Apple again, just, you know, seems to be a safety trade, or at least perceived to be a safety trade. We did break out from this sort of area, 155, 156. We're up into the 160 level, and not great volume on Friday, but again, still seems to be, I wouldn't short it, that's for sure. It just seems to be an area where people want to be right now. And here's a weekly. We are definitely breaking out on the weekly basis here. We're into an area where there might be some resistance around 160, but certainly this pullback, then a higher low here, and break to a new high. It certainly looks like it could be heading up even into the 170 level. Momentum still looking strong, and stochastics, MACD still indicating that Apple might have some more upside there. Amazon looks like really struggling at 100 here. Could be a good opportunity to sell some calls here, just because it seems to be you know, having trouble getting through this area. Although it is sort of finding some support here around these moving averages, so possibility to sell some upside calls there. Baba, I'm not really, I don't know, I'm not really keen on it. It has broken this downtrend, but again, not really finding a whole lot of momentum. What's the volume look like? Kind of stochastics are starting to turn up a little bit on this. I think there's still a concern with China and what's going to happen if you know, there's a ban on TikTok, how they're going to respond. But again, it's interesting. I don't know that. I'm not sure if there's a trade here, but certainly this 200-day moving average could be an area 95, maybe sell a call. for next week. This First Horizon National Bank. This is a bank, Southern Bank. It's got a buyout bid from TD. Now, there's a lot of question as to whether this buyout is going to go forward, but the buyout level is right here at this 25, sort of around this $25 level. And you can see here, it's kind of suffered with all the other smaller regional banks, but I think it's gotten really oversold. So possibility to buy some calls here, some longer dated calls, and or just take the stock long if you want. But I think there's opportunity here. TD is committed to try to make this deal work. There is some regulatory concerns, but overhang, but that's might just going to be at least addressed at some point. And here's gold. Gold has done really well. This is one of the stocks I have been long, gold. It's getting up into an area where we filled a gap here, and probably due for a little bit of a pullback. But I think with all the upheaval, maybe there might be more upside. But I think right now it's maybe going to do a bit of a pullback if we don't see any new bad news headlines. 280 calls where I sold last week on NVIDIA. They expired worthless, so I kept the premium. And but again, I think it's kind of dangerous. NVIDIA's been in this really nice uptrend. It just had a little overextended last week, which is why I sold the calls. And now I'm out of them, but I'm just concerned now that with the Qs, if the Qs push higher, so could NVIDIA. So might be worth selling some downside puts, just because there'll be buyers in there, I'm sure. Again, silver's been amazing. Silver actually has been performing better than gold. A bit of a pullback on Friday here. Probably going to get a bit more of a pullback, maybe back to the under 20 level. But I think silver again, sort of safety trade in the face of all the concerns. Could be a long if on a pullback here. Tesla again, kind of we're just chopping here right now, and 200 seems like an area where there's going to be some significant resistance, maybe even up to 210. So it might be worth selling some 210 calls, and letting it just chop sideways for the week. But always a big place where retail traders seem to trade. UNG, I'm watching this again. We had this nice pop-up. This all happened leading up to our San Diego summit. As you can see here, we had a really nice pop. A few of our traders took this. I tried to take it once and then got stopped out and then took it again. Some of our other traders took this one. I think they were hoping it was going to get up to 12 or 13, but it again rolled over, and we're right back down to low of the prior low here. So it could be a long with a tight stop here on UNG. But again, energy seems to be having a bit of a time here. Oil has been rolling over. There's obviously a concern with oil because if we go into a recession, there's lower energy demand and obviously lower demand for energy products. So again, XLE had a nice move up on Friday, but again, oil tends to be still looking a little weak here. Let's take a look at USO quickly. This is the oil fund, and you can see here huge drop on these financial concerns, but maybe putting in a higher low here, something worth keeping an eye on. If it loses 60, we're probably going back down to 58 on USO. So that's the wrap. So let's wrap things up here. Let's take a look ahead at what we got coming down the pipe next week. Here's your levels on the Dow Q SPY with the associated support and resistance levels. I think the Qs do look poised to maybe go higher. We are pretty close to a level of resistance here, and again, money flowing into the Qs as people perceive this to be a safe haven trade. On the economic fronts here, we've got consumer confidence on Tuesday. We've got home sales on Wednesday. We've got GDP and jobless claims. Obviously, everybody's always watching these jobless claim numbers to see if there's some kind of weakening, which is what the Fed wants. And then this is the big PCE price index number. This is the one that Fed watches for, sort of indicator of how inflation is going one way or another. So that's a big number coming out on Friday. And throughout the week, I didn't list all of them, but there are a lot of speakers from the Fed that will be speaking at various events throughout the week. So could be some volatility, but usually they're sticking to their script, and we'll see what happens there. But that's going to be scattered throughout the week. As far as earnings, we do have some earnings actually. Before the market open here on Monday, we've got the Carnival Cruise Lines, and then Tuesday, Walgreen Boots. That'll be an interesting one. Everybody's a little bit negative on that. We've got some interesting ones after the market closes on Tuesday. Lulu, Micron, Playcom, and Jeffries. And then Wednesday, some Restoration Hardware after the market close. It's had a rough go lately. And Thursday, BlackBerry after the close, and then really nothing on Friday. So that's it, everyone. We'll be looking forward to seeing you maybe in the Bear Bull Trading Room chat room live on YouTube at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then, of course, 8:30 pre-market show, and of course, as always, trading the market open with our members. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody, and hopefully we will see you bright and early Monday morning. Take care. Bye for now.